Well, the NDC has in the past, and as we are still doing, commit ourselves we have committed ourselves to a free, fair, and peaceful elections. We have always said that we place the lives of Ghanaians ahead of electoral victory, and that is why in the past, when it mattered most, when we even had protests, we decided to let go, which earned even our former president, the late Prof. Mills, the title of Asomdwehini and all of that. We have always said that every Ghanaian who has the right to vote must be given the opportunity, especially within the jurisdiction. We have presented numerous reasons why we are against the compilation of a new register. And because of time, I will just run through a few. The first one is that, my brother, it is obvious, it is crystal clear. You don't need a prophet, you don't need a doomsayer to tell the Electoral Commission under Jane Mensa, the NIA under Kenatefwa, and the Akufo are conniving to rig the elections to ensure that President Akufo-Addo, who has lost favor with the people of Ghana, remains in office. And we have demonstrated and presented cogent reasons why we think that they are scheming. There is an evil plan, evil agenda to rig the election. Because you are calling me from WA, let me begin with the issue of the use of the NIA card. A few years ago, President Akufo-Addo went to Parliament, and when he was asked, or he in his State of the Nation address, he stated that the NIA card was just to find a way of centralizing the national identity of Ghanaians, and that card was not going to be used as a basis for elections. I hope you know that as a fact. Few months ago, the Electoral Commissioner was heard loud and clear stating that the NIA data was incomplete and that as such they were not going to rely on such a data. What has happened? That all of a sudden you present a CI to Parliament and you are seeking to rely solely on birth certificates, solely on passport and also this NIA card. Meanwhile, when you come to a region like Upper West, your region where you are calling me from, and I want our listeners to pay attention to the details. Do you know that with the number of people that have been issued cards, if we are to use the voter ID, if we are to use the Ghana card as the basis to acquire the voter ID, do you know, as a matter of fact, that in your region, 93% of eligible voters will not have the opportunity to register? Do you know? Are the people of the Upper West aware? Do you know that in Upper East region, 94% will not have the opportunity to register? Why? Because President Akufo-Addo and the NPP government has realized that the only way they can win this election is to change the current credible register, which they used to win an election. And by so doing, they want to suppress votes in regions that they suspect or they know as NDC strongholds. Region like the Upper West region. How many people in Upper West have passports? How many people in Upper West have the Ghana card? And why is it that when they were doing the Ghana card registration, when they got to the Upper West, for many of the places, the machine was not functioning properly. But when they got to the Ashanti region and the Eastern region, they had brought in newer machines, they had brought in more machines and more personnel and spent longer time there. Why? And it is there clearly on the number of people they have registered and issued the cards. Very, very important question that you have asked, my brother. How did we come to the conclusion? I want to give you the exact statistics, the figures as it is, just so you know that in our press conference, we presented the House, we presented to Ghanaians the NIA own data that they have on their website, indicating the number of people that they have registered and the number of people they have issued the identity card and the number of people who are yet to receive their card. Now, when you want to check that percentage, what you take the number of eligible voters, let's even say you are striking it with the total number of people in the Upper West region in 2016. My brother, I hope you are following. So when you do that, you compare the two. So if you can hold on a second, I will give you and read out the exact figures just for you to know how alarming the danger is with regard to the use of the NIA card. And that is why. And we came up with these figures over a week ago. The NIA has not been able to challenge those figures that in Upper West, 95% or 93% of people will not be able to register. And these figures are there. So if you give me just a minute, I want to read out the very, very, very specific of that data.
Okay.
So it is not as if we just sat down to conjure. We looked at the number of cards that they issued in media, which is stated on their own website. And we also looked at the number of people who have not been given their cards. And that is what we use in arriving at those figures. And it is worthy to note that the Electoral Commission has not been able to challenge the figures that we have put out, except to say that those 93% that we talk about, they have an opportunity to do some registration through people trying to guarantee for them. Meanwhile, there is always an exception to the rule. But in this case, the exception is rather being used as the rule, which we must not tolerate. My brother, if you can hear me now, yes. So if you can hear me, this is what we did. If you look at the NIA's own website,
okay,
and the number of cards that they have issued,
okay,
in each region, they have given the estimated population that is above 18 years. Then those who are above 18 years and have been issued the ID card.
Okay.
And also those above 18 who have not been issued the ID card. Then you look at you subtract that from those that have been issued, and you have the rest as those who have not been issued. I hope you follow the calculation.
Okay.
So when you take the Upper West region, for example, per the NIA's own records, they tell us that 472,391 people in Upper West are above the age of 18, which means that when you open the register, you have about 472,000 people who will come and register to vote. Out of that population, only 24,427 in the Upper West region have received their card. And you have 94%, 94.8% of people in the Upper West region who have not received their card. So when you come and mount electoral polling stations and say you are doing registration, when you say you are doing registration, you have 94.83% of people in the Upper West region who do not have the card that you are requiring for as the basis for the registration. Does it make sense? Completely illogical. When you go to the Ashanti region, they have 3.2 million people who are eligible to vote. Out of that, 1.6 have been issued their card. Only 49% of people in the Ashanti region have not received their cards yet. And as we speak, during the lockdown, we were told that the NIA have been actively engaged in the process of sharing these cards to some of the people in this region. So when you compare the percentage, in Upper East, the percentage of people who do not have the card is 93.64%. And other areas, Bono East, this northern region, and these places that are considered as NDC strongholds, tell me that it is coincidental that it is only in the regions that the NDC performed so well that they had challenges in giving out the card. Clearly, there is a grand scheme, an evil agenda to rig the election. But we are warning them that the NDC will not sit aloof and watch Jane Mensa to plunge this country into chaos. The democracy we have today, people have fought for it. It didn't come by easily. We will not sit down and allow them to have their way. If you are listening to me in WA and this environment, this is how Akufo-Addo and Jane Mensa intends to prevent you from registering, because they believe that when most of you register, you are going to cast your vote. So these are the facts. These are records from the NIA's own website about the number of cards that they have given. It is not the NDC that is conjuring these figures. In the Abu Ramadan versus the Electoral Commission case in 2016, the Supreme Court ruled that the voter identification card or the voter's ID card was credible and was the most widely accepted documentation. What the NDC seeks to do, and I don't want to go into the details because it is before the court of law,
Okay.
is that we are asking the Supreme Court to speak on this matter because in just a few years ago, they had their own verdict on. Let's see if this time around they will say something that is different. How do you eliminate a document, an identity card that is considered credible even by the court, that is widely accepted, that we have worked on procuring for for some time now? An electoral rule that made the NDC win 2012 and made the NPP win 2016. Why did Mensa of Ebonsu? Why is he saying that when we do a new register, no other political party apart from the NPP can